Hi, and welcome to the Adventures of Uber Dad. This is podcast 13 in an ongoing series where I'm going to be talking about my experiences signing up for Uber and hopefully giving you the information that you need to know if that is right for you. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Uber Pool, which was something that was relatively new that came on the scene when I was driving. It took me by surprise, but I've gotten used to it and I deal with it pretty much. I think a third of my rides are probably Uber Pool. So what is Uber Pool? I drive UberX predominantly. I don't qualify to drive for Uber Black or Elite or some of the other categories because of the age of my car and the size of my car, which is fine. UberX has been a great service. You pick up single riders, you take them around town. If there's surge pricing or incentives, you get a bonus for that. Uber Pool is basically an incentive for riders to go ahead and use Uber where they can share a ride if they're going to a similar destination. So it takes away some of the comforts of getting an Uber by yourself in the sense that you get a personal car who comes in with a single driver who takes you directly to your destination. And you're getting somebody in sort of a shared taxi ride where they will pick you up, and over the course of your ride, you may or may not end up picking up other riders who might have similar destinations, and you may or may not be dropped off at your destination first if those riders' destinations are closer. So the way it works for you as a driver, you will be driving and you will see the usual Uber blue circle tag that appears at the top of the screen to pick somebody up, but it will say pool. You go ahead and you accept that ride and it will take you to the first destination. It's possible that on the way to that destination, you will get another ping, in which case you just accept it, and that will be the rider for your second destination. You go ahead and follow the screen as normal. You arrive at your destination. It will tell the rider that you're there. If you need to contact them, you can as usual. And once you pick up that rider, you say start driving, the bottom of the screen. You click that in. If there's another pool rating, it'll give you that next destination, and your navigation will take you directly to that next rider, and then you do the same process where you say you've picked this person up, and then you go, and then it gives you the next destination that you're going to, which could be another rider depending on how much space is left in your car, or it could be a destination of one of the two riders. One of the problems for riders is that you don't know the full extent of the ride and you don't know exactly where you're going or how long it will take. You only know this next step in the process. That can lead to some rider frustration. So I found it useful to go ahead and explain that to people and say, I apologize. Sometimes if I'm going close enough to one of the other riders' destinations, they have asked me, can I just get out here and I'll walk the rest of the distance? That is absolutely fine, even if they're the ones after. What they need to do is go on their app and they need to cancel their ride, and it'll say rider canceled. So if they want to get at any point, they just go ahead and they do that. You let them off. They still have to pay for their portion of the ride, and it will show up on your app as rider canceled, and you will continue with the remaining destinations as normal. So it's a pretty easy service to deal with. In terms of the difference between carrying riders normally, I find that on most occasions people tend to clam up. It's the elevator phenomena, as I like to call it, where when there's one person in the car, unless they really don't want a conversation, they generally tend to be somewhat conversational. And there's an earlier podcast on how to test those waters, because there's just as many people who like to post on Twitter about, my Uber rider wouldn't shut up this morning, I wish they'd stop talking. So you do have to read the signals as to whether or not they want to have a conversation. But I do find in general that when you start having two or more people in the car, it turns into a bus, and you might even have people who start to make calls with the others, and they won't interact with each other. If you can facilitate a conversation between anyone or one of them, that can be a good thing. However, I do think on occasions the fact that one passenger wanted to have a conversation with me, but another passenger just wanted to sit back in the car quietly, was a negative thing for them. And I do think I got rated something less than 5 stars, which is rare for me. So you have to balance those things accordingly. It's not always easy, because if you have somebody who's a chatterbox up front and you have people in the back who want to talk on their cell phones or just don't want to talk or don't want to listen to somebody else's conversation, there's not much you can do. You've suddenly become a subway or a bus, and you're just facilitating getting these people to their destinations as quickly as possible. So be friendly, smile, be cordial as much as you can, and try and read the indicators as much as you can, and you should be fine. In terms of you and pricing, it's a discount for them because they're sharing a portion of the distance, but for you, it still works out as effectively a single ride, and some kind can extend that ride. So there's no financial disincentive to not use Uber Pool. You might as well go ahead and use it and accept it. And if you don't accept it, oftentimes you can get yourself the other financial incentives that I've talked about in some of the other previous podcasts. So you kind of have to go along with it. The one thing to be aware of, if you're going out for a quick jaunt and you get an Uber pool, sometimes they're going to a location nearby if there's an event or something happening, or it's a big urban area like a downtown where there's lots of people. But oftentimes it can mean that you're going to an airport or someplace very far off, because that's just the way it works, when people happen to be within like a short distance of each other. And sometimes that can be frustrating for the riders, because it may be that you're going a very long distance and then an even further distance, and so it's taking you sort of circumnavigating that initial rider's route to get to the next one. And I've actually had occasions where people have canceled and asked to get out of the car midway so they could go ahead and do regular Uber versus Uber Pool, because they felt it was adding too much time on their destination. And that is a problem with the app, where it doesn't tell you exactly how long it's going to take to get to all the destinations. It just does one piecemeal at a time in the order that it conceives is the best. So you never know exactly what that last few segments is going to take, and that can lead to some frustration that you have to manage. Okay, I think that's it for Uber Pool. I'm frankly not even sure what the next podcast is. I've got some anecdotes to go ahead and tell you about, using mapping services, some riders that have happened with me, some personal experiences in the car, which are pretty good to tell. It's always fun to share stories about sad, transgendered clowns, who you pick up at midnight off a park bench, and what that's like, and some other experiences. So I don't know if they'll help, but they're fun to share, and maybe they will. As always, if you need help, go ahead and reach out to me, Michael, at uberdadla at gmail.com or uberdad.la@gmail.com. Or you can put comments on this video or one of the others, and I'll do my best to answer them when I get to them. Likewise, if you're going to be signing up for Uber for the first time and you found these videos helpful, please use my referral code, which you can find a link to on this YouTube site or on the subscription page. Or you can also find it, you can enter it directly by putting in R7F5BJXYUE in the sign-up process. That will get a cash payment for both you and I. It's another way to make money when driving for Uber. Essentially, you sign up and you do a certain number of rides and you qualify, and we both get a additional payment in our payments for that week. So that's it for now. I will talk to you soon. Take care.